Hello, welcome to Dominion League Season 46. I am Shanahan, and I'm playing here against Markus. Markus has been a long time performer at the highest levels in Dominion, so certainly someone I'm going to have to try really hard to compete against here and do well. We've got University Wild Hunt as our draw, point of plenty for payload there. So it seems like we probably want to be doing Universities gaining Wild Hunts, drawing that way, buying some point of plenties along the way. That deck is a little bit tough to get off the ground. There are platinums and colonies and stuff as well. I wonder if Wild Hunt... like the University gains should be nice. I'm going to open Harbinger Potion, I think, and build up the stack that way. Get some Universities going, a bunch of Wild Hunts. I don't really want silvers in this deck because the draw is going to be tight, so I much prefer to have Harbingers. Harbinger and Potion in the bottom 7. I can get a second Harbinger. Harbinger is really nice with University because I can top deck Universities, top deck the things that University gains. Villages are going to be tight, so we want to try to spike Academy at some point, just so we can add a few more terminals into the mix. I wonder if Fortune Teller gets some play here. It seems a little bit too early, but it seems like it could definitely get some play here. I don't really have anything. I don't really want to get a silver yet. I guess I could take one monument. It's another unique, and I'm not quite sure. I can top deck it. Buy my University now. Yeah, the Harbingers don't feel great when I either draw them at the end of a shuffle with nothing in the discard, or at the top of a shuffle here. But I think later in the game it'll be worthwhile having bought. A lot of good draws I can hit here. Okay, so got the monument now, so I'll grab an Academy, and now I'm just going to start cramming Wild Hunts into the deck. Here I probably won't buy anything. I don't really see a strong need to add a Duchess to the deck. I want to get deck control and draw first. I've got 5 uniques right now. Point of plenty is 6, so next time I get a chance to draw a Point of Plenty, I'll do that. I have villagers now, so I think I'm always going to top deck the Wild Hunt and grab another Wild Hunt. Universities start to get bad when the Wild Hunts run out, so maybe I have as many Universities as I need. I guess I can just empty the Harbingers. It gives me villagers and a little bit of deck control. At some point I need to consider buying a Horn of Plenty. I think there's still too many Wild Hunts in the pile to consider that, but it feels like we're getting close to the point where buying Horns of Plenty is going to be strong for us. Okay, and we're going to continue with the plan and just click on all of the Wild Hunts. And I guess we do get one more University. And then I think the plan is no more Universities. I do have a Harbinger down here, so there's a chance I can draw it. We'll see if they're able to get the last Wild Hunt here. That'll mean I think we split the pile up. This game can end actually fairly quickly. Yeah, they're able to have a nice turn here. And get a lot of Wild Hunts. So the piles we can end on are Wild Hunts, obviously, Harbingers, and Estates. Estate is a pile that can empty very, very quickly in a Wild Hunt kingdom. If every Wild Hunt takes Estate, for example. Yeah, so I can count here, 1 card at the bottom of the deck, which is a copper, and then 2 Wild Hunts in hand, and then 8 cards to draw through, 10 cards to draw through with Wild Hunts. So in theory, I can draw through the Wild Hunts, grab some more Harbingers, draw again, get a monument, and 7 I think is enough points that I'm willing to just go ahead and take it, even though it does add a junk card to my deck. With 8, considering how quickly the game is going to end, I've got a university down there, and I'm going to have some Harbingers next turn. So like this game ends very quickly. The question is, do we have time to get the Hornet Plenty stack going? I don't really know. I think I'm going to be lame and just take a province here because I think this game ends fairly quickly. And I think it's worthwhile just to grab the points while I can. It is hurting my deck quite a bit, but I don't really see how they're making up this point deficit in the short run. Like they can get 5 VP a turn from playing 5 Wild Hunts. Although this turn is going to be sad, I'm not going to find any Wild Hunts, so they may be able to get 9 VP, which is really strong, unless I top deck a Wild Hunt here. Same thing can happen to them, although my deck is a little bit thicker with the extra estate and province. We just don't have enough uniques. There doesn't seem like there's enough time adding in Harbingers into the deck, and then the estates run fairly quickly. I've also got a couple of monument plays, which is not worth much, but nice to have. They currently are only generating, as far as I can tell, 7 coins in their whole deck. They don't have a monument, they don't have a fortune teller, they don't have silver, gold, anything. Okay, they have a monument now. And they can probably even play it with a Harbinger place. And probably buy their own province. I don't know. See, normally if they left 5 points in the Wild Hunt, I would say that's a pretty significant advantage for me. But I didn't draw a Wild Hunt in the top 5, so I think the advantages may have swung towards them. Mystics can also be nice here, especially if you're able to draw deck. I was not able to draw deck even with drawing with 3 Wild Hunts. I guess I would have drawn deck exactly if I'd drawn 3 Wild Hunts, and maybe I should have. But that left them with so many points in the table. The pile, I'm sure they would have taken them in this case. Although they would not have been able to do the gain and play spinny stuff that they're doing now. Alright, that was a mistake. As soon as I clicked on it, I realized it was a mistake. But not much to be done there. I'm going to buy another university. This game is ending, and I can use the university for some pile control. A little bit sad they're probably going to get 9 VP from these Wild Hunts this turn. The good news is I should be able to almost draw my deck here. Gain a bunch of Harbingers, gain a bunch of Mystics potentially. I don't think they'll be able to draw deck this turn if they take the points, especially because they added a Horn of Plenty, a Mystic, both of those, a Monument. None of those are draw cards. So with 4 Monuments in the deck, I can potentially gain out the Harbingers and start gaining out the Mystics, or even potentially start gaining out the Universities. Like I could top deck a Potion even if I'm feeling risky, to buy a University, empty the Harbingers here. But we'll see where they end the turn on VP. It looks like they may have run out of draw already. I'm assuming they don't have any Wild Hunts in hand, otherwise they would not be doing the stuff that they're doing. If they wish for Wild Hunt, we will know that for sure. So this has swung back the other way now. I'm certainly going to take the points this turn. Alright, so I'm going to lead on 1 Wild Hunt, I think, just to see where I'm at. Lead on another. Okay, so I can start to gain... Mystics now. I can just keep gaining Harbingers and empty that pile out and take the points here, and I think that's the plan. Grab a University. Grab another University, I guess. Not 100% sure. Maybe I just want to... Not 100% sure exactly what I'm doing here, which is probably a bad sign. Alright, so we'll gain a couple of Harbingers. Now, I've lowered the piles quite a bit, so I'm going to take the points here. That's a lot of points. I feel pretty good about that. And just grab a couple of Mystics here. And feel pretty good about the point advantage that I have. They have a bunch of Wild Hunts coming up, but they've also added quite a few stop cards to the deck along the way, although they've got the Harbinger so they can top deck things. I'm not sure if I wanted to buy a Mystic there. Maybe I should have just bought an Estate to try to end the game on the Estate pile. I have 4 Universities, so like emptying the Mystics seems fairly quick. And I have a 30 VP point lead, which feels pretty good. I greened perhaps a touch early, but I had a dud turn and then they had a dud turn in response, so it seems to have evened out a little bit. And they should be able to top deck a Wild Hunt here. I don't think they want to trigger this shuffle. They played 4 Wild Hunts, so I assume there's either one in the discard pile. They probably top decked one, so they probably have one in hand here. If they don't take the Wild Hunt points here and leave me 5 on the pile, I'm definitely just going to take 2 Estates on my turn. There are colonies, there's Horn of Plenty, so like there is some amount of VP lead. They can get 30 or 40 VP in a turn. You know, it's not outside the realm of possibility here. Although they've only got 2 Horns of Plenty, they need to ramp those up quickly. And they don't have 11 uniques, and they don't have a ton of draw. So the problem with the universities and the village is that they're stop cards. Every time you play a university, you have to add another stop card into your deck now. So there's not really even great piles for them to add. I guess you can add monuments or fortune tellers or something, but now that the Wild Hunts and Harbingers have emptied, there's not super great things to be done. So they did leave the points in the estate pile, which is 4. I think I'm just going to go ahead and take 2 estates on my turn. And they've got 4 Horns of Plenty, but I think they're not close to colonies yet. Can they get 4 estates? It doesn't seem possible to me. So I'm gonna do this. Feels kind of lame, but I'm not that far from ending the game here, and I've got a 35-point VP lead. I can already get three estates on this turn. Well, 2 estates this turn if I want to. They're also pretty low on villagers for whatever that's worth. Doesn't seem like it's worth a lot, but the game is close to ending, but it's happening at least. And they knew there was a Mystic on top. And they had a Wild Hunt in hand. Interesting. I'm not quite sure I'm not seeing their deck, so I don't know what they're doing with the play order, but it seems strange, some of the play order stuff that they did this turn. They top decked a Mystic. I'm not sure why they didn't play the Wild Hunt first before top decking the Mystic and wishing for it. Maybe they drew the Wild Hunt with the Harbinger. I guess that makes the most sense. So they find the Wild Hunt at the top of the shuffle, which is good because they can now Harbinger for them back next turn, which if you don't draw your deck is what you need to do. And we're saying they're nearing the end of their draw. They've got 1 more Wild Hunt, a couple of Harbingers, but still 12 cards to get through. And potentially they're leaving a lot of points on this estate pile. I kind of regret not having taken a potion 2 turns ago and bought a university. It gives me a lot more pile pressure here. All I need to do is find the potion to win the game this turn. It may take me a turn or 2 to empty out the estate pile, because you can't grab estates with universities. Although if they grab a bunch of things like Mystics, I can potentially empty out the Mystic pile on this turn. That maybe is even more likely for me. I can certainly gain 1 with Mystic, probably buy another, but it's a lot of draw I've got to get through. Last turn I saw 2 coppers, 2 estates, so I'm fairly dense. I'm seeing 2 coppers now, so I've got 3 coppers, 1 estate, and everything else is an action card in those 23 cards, well, the potion. So a pretty good density of cards. If I can find a couple of Harbingers and Wild Hunts and universities, then I can empty Mystics. Going to try to buy at least either take the Wild Hunt points or try to empty the Mystics. Probably reach a decision point fairly quickly. We have to decide between those two alternatives. They're certainly having nicer turns than me, and that makes sense given that they built more. And then I switched to greening earlier, and I guess I have a 23 VP advantage, so I can't complain too much about the niceness of the turns. And they did take the points there. That's interesting. So are they going to max VP here? It looks like they are. That's all their payload, though. That's really all of their payload. Okay. Top Tech Wild Hunt. I'm going to draw. Okay, and this is just a win. 3 estates, right? Points by the last estate. Yeah, I just got a little bit of a VP lead there, or a fairly good VP lead, and it's just tough to come back. The draw was too limited there, with only the Wild Hunts really for draw. You could Harbinger them, but you can't really draw deck if you're Harbingering that way. So feels pretty good. My first game of the season to get a win, especially against a good opponent like Markus, and we move on to game 2.